Good afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you to tune into every Saturday evening. I'm Eldson McGhee, your host, and I'm here doing the same thing I've been doing ever since we started the show. Trying to make sense out of a sensitive situation called the plight of veterans in the USA, and the USA with the plight of veterans. And today we still on that trail, and we got this awesome, awesome sister that then came south from the York. Got you. Queenie, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me here today.
I want you to introduce yourself to the audience and tell them why you're here today, please.
Oh, no problem. Thank you once again for having me. My name is Queenie Jordan, everyone, and I am what you call a gerontologist by profession. So I'm an aging specialist, a little bit clinical and a lot of non-clinical education I've had. So gives me great pleasure to be here. And one of the topics that you all asked me to speak about had to do with your parents are getting older, what every family needs to know. And so we're going to talk about that. But first, I have to say, I want to thank Miss Mary Wilson, who is the co-founder of Ubuntu Community Catalyst, which is a grassroots organization that delves into community building and thriving communities, particularly on the South Side. So she recommended me to be here today and talk to this wonderful audience, and I'm so glad to be here. How I want to approach this is you asked me what every family needs to know. And I have some notes because I don't want to miss anything. But I want to say your parents are getting older and we are getting older, what we all need to know. So,
Okay.
preparing our families and helping us if we ever get to the point of needing help. We have a responsibility in that, okay? So, when you look at this society to start with, this is an ageism society. This is the thing that when people look at you and they believe that you're an older adult, or if you tell them your age a lot of times, they have something in their mind, a preconceived notion about us, right? And so you see that in employers, you see that in institutions, you see that in healthcare. And I'm gonna give you an example of how this happens in healthcare, okay? So I've had many patients that have said to me, I go into the doctor's office and I have pain. And they say, well, you're old now. You're old now. It's due to you being an older adult, right? No, you have pain because there is something going on in your body. There's an injury or illness that has happened to you. So once again, I go back to ageism is real. And that's looking at it from the outside, but internally we tell ourselves something too when we are older adults. A lot of times we think we are a burden on society. We think that we're useless to society, and that is not true. So how do we start with educating our families on what really preparing them for our aging journey? That's what I like to say. I think I'm gonna get a t-shirt and put that message on there. Okay. So one of the things is realizing when we can no longer do some of the things that we used to do. If you think about it, when people are even in their 40s, they start talking about what they couldn't use, wasn't able to do. Think about it. Well, as you get older, and you in your 60s and your 70s, don't you think those things are going to increasingly change? Makes sense, right? Right? So what we need to do is be real about what is happening with our bodies, what we can no longer do, and think about stomping on that pride and saying, I need some assistance with something, right? And bringing it to light. In aging, I find that sometimes families need to hear you say it rather than you just assuming that they see it. Because a lot of times our families do not want to admit it's painful to see you changing, right? And when I say changing, I'm not talking about mental changing, always. I'm talking about physical
change.
changes as well, financial changes. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example. So, and I find this to be in a lot of men a lot of times. So, have been taking care of their children and taking care of their grandchildren because they've had 2 jobs all their life, and then all of a sudden your income changes. You're not getting those extra checks that you used to getting. But yet you still want your family to see you as the person that can be able to help you out financially, right? You have too much pride or you're embarrassed to say, I am no longer able to do that. And then what I see are individuals that are coming to me and saying, I need help because my house is getting ready to go into foreclosure or I am unable to afford my medicine, because they simply don't want to let their family know about the change. How about injuries and falls in older adults? A lot of times it's because, I was so used to going up on a ladder and putting up those ornaments, right? For the holidays. You're laughing because and you got to think about, you may not, your muscles are not as strong. Your hearing is not the way it used to be. Right? And definitely your vision is not the way it used to be. And even though you want those ornaments up because you're just, celebrating a holiday, ask for help. Do you know falls can lead to death? You smiling, Reverend. Is this hitting home with you?
Yeah,
I'm just asking. Is this hitting home?
It's hitting home.
It's hitting home.
It's hitting
Okay.
home with me.
Okay. I spoke to you older about something that irks me. I'm going to lead into this because it really does.
Right.
So as we get older, a lot of times, many people believe in this adage, once an adult and twice a child. And it really makes me cringe, because once you are an adult, no matter what age you are, you're an adult, you will never be a child again. And I find that statement being used when you have someone that has a dementia, such as Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a type of dementia. And as we age, not everybody gets dementia. There is some a memory loss as we get older. But when it gets to the point of a dementia, memory loss, confusion, and all of that, that's a disease. Okay. And so if, in fact, I need assistance at any time in my life, one thing I am is still an adult who just happens to need help. And I might need my daughter to be my caregiver. But my daughter will never be my mother. The roles don't reverse. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to pause right here and ask you, what do you think about some of the things that I've mentioned?
Man, I almost fell off a ladder. Well, I fell off a ladder. I mean, trying to do an add-on to my house, right? I'm going to build a deck on my back. And now this is after I done had a hip replacement, and, I'm 72 at that time. And I'm getting up on the ladder thinking I can still do it, right? And fail. It was just by the grace of God that I didn't hurt myself, because I had stuff laying all around me. Then another incident that I realized that I needed my grandson. I don't want to tell him I need him because he's hard headed. But I was trying to change the doorknob, right? And I just say, my son, my children can't change the doorknob because they stopped teaching that kind of stuff in high school. But I fingered with that doorknob about a week and a half. Then he came over. He come in and I said, I said, you know how to fix the doorknob? 5 minutes the doorknob was fixed. I didn't want to ask him because I didn't. I want him to think that I'm his papa, right?
Yeah.
So I ain't trying to let him know I need him.
I get it. I get it.
So yeah, you're talking to
I'm preaching to the choir, right?
Yeah.
So when you think that way, you're putting your health in harm's way, right?
Yeah.
So you have to say to yourself, what's more important, for me to be healthy for myself so I can continue my mission in life, for the veterans, for people with disabilities, for families, and my family. So it's changing our way of thinking. It's changing our way of thinking, and that's so, so important. One of the other things is when you think about families, many a times they see us as they saw us when they were younger, right? So it's almost stuck in time kind of thing. So I was talking to a young lady yesterday, Miss KG, and she might be listening in. And so those are just her initials, I'm not going to call her out. And so she said, give the example of me. And I said, I'll do that. She said, I took my grandmother shopping for food. And I'm saying, doggone, what is taking her so long? She forgot her grandmother was 79 years old. And she was thinking like when her grandmother was 50 years old or 40 years old. And she said to herself, you know what? My grandmother is 79 and she has to take her time right now. And guess what? I'm going to be patient, kind of thing. So as far as we are concerned, as older, going back to that, we really need to bring things to their attention. For example, I have arthritis in my hands now. I don't lift anything heavy beyond a certain amount of weight. I will ask my grandchildren, I ask somebody if they can lift that for me, particularly having also sciatic nerve issues and all of that type of stuff. Realizing the fact that I have these things going on with me help me to reach out and ask for help. The other thing is I have open communication with my family over the years about the aging process, right? And what possibly can happen. And I think that's important. In fact, that's why I think one of the things my family are really engaged in older adults and activities and all that because they've been hearing about it. I was raised by my grandparents. So all I know is older adult world and journey. So that's what I do. And I think that society really need to look at how we need to communicate about aging. So we're here and we're living, right? So aging brings on redefining your good time, right? Aging brings on some negative, but it definitely brings on some positive. So one thing we have as we age that you will not have it when you're younger is wisdom. And for some, the gift of discernment. So I think that what we need to do as a society, and we are a part of society, is talk more about the positive aspects of aging. That's one of the things that I come with, is talking about how, somebody will come through that door, particularly like a relative or something, and you know them. They come through that door, by the look on their face, you coming in here to ask me for some money. And then you say, what you want, baby? Well, start that humming and hawing. You already know. But when you're younger, a lot of times, you don't have that wisdom and gift of discernment. That's a great thing that happens with aging. For me, I see that as positive. So, for our families, the families need a reality check. They need to keep it real, right? And when you see some changes, don't push it under the rug. Don't ignore it. Just be real about what you are witnessing. Okay? If you notice that all of a sudden when you come into mom or dad's house, that there's not much food in the refrigerator as it used to be. And it could be for several reasons. It could be that they can no longer drive, or don't have the income in order to be able to afford. Different things. Take notice of some things. Do not ignore it. If, in fact, you are, like you mentioned, you're going through some repairs in your house, right? And you go and when you yourself as a younger person have those same sort of issues in your home, you know what it takes to get your home back the way it need to be, right? it's hard for them sometimes to think you are going through the same thing, but maybe on another level because you have more conditions that uh, causes you not to be able to do as much as they can. So just that realism of what you see. Don't sweep it under the rug and say, you know what, this is what's happening, and I need to make sure that I be on top of this. The other thing that I find is that once again, I'll go back to what we need to do. We need to be more involved with what's going on in our parents and our loved ones' health as far as their health is concerned. Don't wait until they get sick in a crisis. Ask them questions like, hey, Dad, tell me about, and it can start like this. You said you had to go to the doctor the other day. How did that doctor's appointment go? What did the doctor talk about? Through that conversation, a lot of times you're going to put out there about some of the chronic illnesses you may have. And then they're learning what chronic illnesses you may have. I see too many people that don't even know what kind of health conditions their parents may have because we are too prideful to share that information. Okay, so if I don't share the information and something happens and I have to be hospitalized, my family is blind to what is wrong with me. The doctor may say, or then you go to an emergency room that has no affiliation with the medical records from your doctor's office, and they're asking questions about your health. You have no idea. You're putting yourself in jeopardy because healthcare system, when you call an ambulance, they come and take you to the hospital. If there's no electronic medical record for them to find, and you can't speak for yourself, and your family can't speak for you, then you risk the chance of all these tests that have to be ran. All these tests that have to be ran unnecessarily before they get to the bottom of what is happening to you. Okay. Somebody trying to get you, Reverend.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. Okay. I guess they didn't. All right, we continue because this is getting to me.
It's getting to you.
Yeah, because you're talking about things that affect me personally and the generation that I'm in. I'm 79 years old. So more recently, we started looking at our organization nationally, right? Nationally. And when it was set up, you could only be a member if you was a Vietnam era veteran. But we have caused more changes in veteran benefits and veteran VA stuff than any generation ever. But now we can't pass the baton because of the structure of our organization. So the discussion is how do we do this? Right? So I'm taking away what you're saying, and I'm realizing that these things at the convention with us trying to get to a point where, and I'm saying we need to just amend it so we can take in younger veterans. But some of them feel like, well, they can't do this, they can't do that, because we done got to that point where we've done things that had never been done in the veteran community before our generation. To give you an example, toxics on the military bases, right? Been toxics on the military bases way before Vietnam started. We just got that a law. Agent Orange in Vietnam. Just got that law at this generation. PTSD. I was wounded in 1968. We didn't have PTSD in this country until 1980.
Wow.
So I'm feeling, and a lot of the veterans are feeling, we need to pass the baton because we have established a legacy that they need to build on.
Absolutely.
But we are not communicating with these other generation veterans. So some of my guys and my generation, we don't. They too wild. They don't know what they're doing. They gonna sit down. We don't know that.
Right.
We really don't know that.
Right.
Come on, Queenie. Just keep us going, baby.
And you said something that hit me real, because that when we were talking about ageism, but that's something where we have biasness about our youth. right? That's what you're mentioning. Yeah, they're, just like we have knuckleheads as older adults because they were knuckleheads when they were younger, right? And they just didn't grow up to be that way. But the idea of assuming because you are of a certain age, no matter what, is a ism. Is a ism. And like you said, it's just like, how do you know? You got to try.
Yeah.
Young people have a place in this society, just like older people do as well, So we have to really understand, like, I mean, he's going to be 2, great grandson, he playing on a computer now. You know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable. And in a couple of years, I'll be able to ask him, probably by 5, about how to do some things. But I think it's the cutest thing. And because he can give me something just like I can give him something. There's room for all of us,
Yeah.
Never know too much to learn. That's what I think about when you say that. So in preparing and keeping with that, and I was talking about healthcare, right? So there's some terminologies I really would like to go over that we need to prepare our families for. Because if we get into a crisis once again, and there's no one to speak about what's going on, okay, that's a problem. That delays help. Okay, so I'm going to touch on a few things. Okay, I'm going to touch on, so a lot of people don't understand a living will. A lot of people don't understand what the last will and testament or regular will is, a healthcare proxy, which is a medical power of attorney, or advance directive. And I have some simple terminology that's going to explain it. Okay, something that we need to put in order ASAP. If you haven't done it, get to it. And sometimes what we need to do is update it. How many people have left things to people, for example, and they're deceased now? Okay. So a living will is nothing but it says to healthcare world, it says to people what medical care you want. Like if you are in a coma and you don't want to be resuscitated, those are your wishes. Okay. If you don't want blood, a blood transfusion, you want saline solution, that's one of your medical wishes, okay? Healthcare proxy, who makes medical decisions for you? We all need that, because not everybody in your family is capable of doing that. Just because back in the day, this is what we did. Well, I want the oldest one, my firstborn, to be the person that's going to speak for me. But you know your children. That person might not be the person that really is capable on taking over that role. So put it in writing. Put it in writing. For people, and you talk about veterans being strong and, people are strong-willed, there's power in you speaking for yourself in writing when you can't speak for yourself verbally. So I'd say you need these things. Advance directive, the overall plan that includes your medical wishes and or the person you choose to speak for you. That's an advance directive. Last will and testament, people like to talk about it being the regular will. What happens to your money, property, and belongings after death? And these documents help ensure your wishes are honored and can reduce stress and uncertainty for your loved ones during difficult times. And I'm going to say this, because really, if you get so sick and you can't speak on behalf of yourself, or we all going to do this, when we die, it brings out some of the ugliest parts of people's behaviors. Y'all know what I'm talking about,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, family drama. At funerals.
Oh, what you saying? Mama didn't tell me that. Daddy didn't tell me that. And like I said, you have to review your documents, right? Make sure you update them, because your wishes can change. You could have had somebody as your healthcare proxy or whatever it is, and that person unfortunately may have gotten into some addictions or something like that, but yet you have them down as that person. So review your documents and also update them as necessary, okay? Because that ugliness it's just really a bad thing. Families have stopped talking to each other because of of things like that. We at Ubuntu had a session on estate planning for older adults. It was powerful. And it was at the East Point Library in East Point. And so, I mean, it really talked about keeping your generational wealth in your family. And that's the bottom line of the importance of estate planning, right? Sometimes we don't even know what type of jewels we have and what we need to put in writing about who we want to get these things or where we want these things to go. And you're planning your estate. Once again, it keeps you, and it's controls a sense of controlling the course of your life. Wouldn't you say, Reverend?
Yeah,
It is.
absolutely.
It is.
Because my mother was that kind of person, right? That, well, my younger sister was the administrator of the estate, not my older sister. Um, that because she knew that Gloria was the business head, right? That she could do this. Now, Shirley was a power of attorney for medical stuff, you know. So it is critical, and because I've seen a lot of what you're talking about drama, because of being a minister, and because people calling me from the funeral home, because they don't even know that their parents or their loved ones have insurance. That's another core issue there to be looked at when you plan this. You know, you do this estate planning.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because too many of us, have it and we don't communicate to our families.
That's right. That's right. I'm glad you brought that up because I thought about this. I thought about we need to let our families know what type of health insurance we have, right? And give them information on that insurance and what that insurance covers. That's the biggest thing. What that insurance covers. Because I'm talking about medical insurance now, okay? People come to me all the time, want to know about if they need some sort of home care, personal care, bathing, someone to help clean your house, and things that's going to help you to age in place. And one of the first things I ask is, what type of insurance does your parent have? And they may know, but they don't know what it covers. It's up to us to be able to provide that information a lot of times. Like I just became this year eligible for my Medicare, right? And so, but I have over the years talked to my daughter about Medicare. And even though I talked to her about it, it changes, right? And with administrations, it changes every year. So you have to have that update type of conversation so that make them aware of what Medicare will cover. If you have the type of Medicare that covers some things that's going to help you to age in place, you may have a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you a food card or something to help you to buy food. Well, when you get that card, you might be able to say, well, to your grandson, grandchild, whoever it is, well, my food card get activated on such day. I'm gonna need you to come maybe this weekend or your day off to bring me shopping. I mean, just whatever it is, give them some information. What do you think? I'm gonna ask you, because you've been around many people that are 65 plus. What keep people believing this is a secret for them to share information?
Let me, as a minister and a paralegal, right, and a BSO, just talking to a young man this morning about Social Security disability. Right now, he is a veteran, right? So a lot of people don't know this. Veterans at certain levels of disability ratings have total care. I have absolute total care. There's no cost for none of my medical. I don't have no co-payment, and it's absolute total care.
Wow.
Now that only comes with different ratings, right? But we also have Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. Because I got this distrust for VA doctors, I got a gene care doctor that I go to for advice to question whether I'm being treated and how I'm being treated at VA, but I won't let him prescribe any medications for me. because I get all my medications from VA.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a process of knowing what you're talking about,
Absolutely.
having that
Absolutely.
knowledge and communicating it to your loved ones is absolutely critical, because I have gotten phone calls from funeral homes where families are there trying to, is making that transition. They don't know that VA covers total burial expenses for me. Total burial expenses. Well, I want to be buried in a veteran cemetery, which is absolute free. And if I want to be in Lincoln Cemetery with my mom, they would do everything except dig the hole. I don't know what that's about, but they will, they will still give my family that total care. And that I got it by policy. VA actually give veterans at 100% a policy that covers all of their final expenses. And these are things that you're talking about today that I'm so delighted that you're talking about, because I deal with it every day
No,
in
that's
veterans
right.
benefits. And this young man is working for the city, been at the city 18 years, but he has an other than honorable discharge. So he only gets certain care from VA.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling
Mm-hmm.
him, well, he finna have a surgery. I said, well, you might be able to get it because he got a limited medical from VA, but I don't know whether the doctor would do a consult for him to have aid and attendance care during this
Say that again. Say it again about aid and
and
attendance
attendance
care.
care.
Tell us a little bit about that, because that's something
Well,
a lot of people don't know about that.
it's down through Social Security, pretty much, absolutely, really. But the VA is there for 100%ers, and I'm 100%er, right? And the VA would actually pay for somebody to come clean up my house, take me to all this kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and so was Social Security. So these are things that what you're talking about today is something that the resource, the information we want to get to our community, not just to veterans, but to veterans' families and the total community,
Absolutely.
because they don't
Absolutely.
realize how important it is to go through that process to get this stuff approved.
Right, right, right. I'm thinking about something when were talking too. We were talking about the ugliness that comes along when we expire, right? How about you can have a document in place
Mm-hmm.
that talks about how, when you die, do you want to be cremated, or do you want a funeral with a burial, right? Some family members, if you don't write this down,
Yes.
one person say this, one person they said she want to be cremated because they don't want to put that money into a casket and all that kind of stuff. You know how the conversations that happen. Do you know there are documents that are actually free? And I'm going to tell you about a site that can help you with this. That you could talk about everything from where your life insurance policy is, where your banking information is, what type of funeral you may want, where the outfit is that you want when you die, and also who it is you don't want at your funeral. I'm telling you who it is that you don't. There's some people that say, even when I die, I don't want them showing up looking down on me.
Didn't John McCain say that about Trump? Let me see. I didn't mean to do that.
You didn't mean to do that? Did I bring it out of you? Did I bring that out of you? I'm telling you.
But, I want to say this. We have that package on our website.
You do?
Absolutely. Because I had this thing where I plan mine already.
Good.
And I'm going to change it because I want to be cremated, because I didn't want to see them take all that policy money and spend it on the funeral costs. It's way more. It's way cheaper to be cremated.
Yeah.
My daughter is adamant not. She is going crazy about that. And I mean, look back at it, and I got all these amazing great grandbabies that I might just, change that policy. But I'll be the one to change it.
He's in control. You are. You in control of making that decision. I like that.
Yeah. But I was making the decision because I know how emotional my daughter is, and I don't want her to be in grief and in confusion at the same time.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's something that we really need to get more on top of, because I've seen chaos at funerals.
Fights. I've been I've
Listen,
seen blows being thrown.
yeah, at funerals, because we don't take that time to do these things that, well, we're still gonna have attitudes, but at least the legalities are settled.
That's right.
And that's
That's right.
important. The legalities are settled.
That's
So
right.
they're gonna come in. Well, Mama wanted me to do this, or Daddy wanted me to do that. And no written documents from
That's right.
that parent. The kids gonna be drama,
Mm-hmm. That's
and
right.
and they don't deserve that.
Sure don't.
They don't.
Sure don't. And you turning over in your grave. I mean, or you're looking down
I
and
come out
saying to
the
yourself,
ashes.
and you're saying,
I come
"Am
out
I
the
out of there?"
ashes.
Absolutely.
Come out the ashes. I come
A-
up out the ashes.
Absolutely. Uh, the other thing I find, and you may have found this too, Reverend, parents want to talk about these things we talk about, these documents, and what happens. Listen, I want to talk to you about what my wishes are when I'm gone.
Okay.
And a lot of families, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, as if they have the power on deciding when you're going to close your eyes for good.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have an open mind. When your loved one is ready to talk about it, be willing to listen.
Yeah.
Just shut it down. Because that's something we have to realize. Death is a part of the progression of our life. And so to talk about it, and you may just say, listen, we don't need to have no whole lot of conversation about it, but you see that box over there, or wherever it is, all my wishes are there. Have it in more than one place, because if something happens and something catches fire, it's gone. Right?
Well, I actually gave my kids a copy of mine.
You did.
I just gave it to them.
That's good.
I got to go back and get it from them now, because I'm wimping a little bit. But that's updated.
That's
now,
updated.
I don't want to kind of cut this off, but I need you to help us, because we having fun here, but time is passing.
Okay.
So I need you to help us to see some of these resources that can help us with this stuff.
Absolutely. One of the top resources I recommend is through the Area Agency on Aging. And there's an Area Agency on Aging in every state. And here in the state of Georgia, there is a division called the Age and Disability Resource Center, and they have their informational system called Empowered Line. That's EMPOWERLINE. And you can go to their website, which is thatword.org. Or there's a phone number, 404-463-3333. Now, you may not get a live person that answers that phone. You leave your name and you leave and your number and a brief message, and someone will get back with you. Please answer your phone. The title that comes up on the phone is Aging Services, and that number for most telephone carriers. Some carriers may have it as a spam call or whatever, and sorry about that, but for most times, Aging Services will come up on the phone. I recommend that one really highly. That is the link that I use to pull the information up about resources for veterans. Okay? And then they have different organizations they can click on and find out more information. There's another one called Find Help. That's FINDHELP.org. There's no telephone number with that, but what you can do is, it's like a drop down box. You just make a decision about what services you're looking for, and it will populate and give you different services in your community, the zip code area that you live in. And once again, that's findhelp.org. Last thing I want to touch on is, the whole thing about aging with dignity and keeping ourselves safe and aging in place. There is an organization that is a wonderful organization that's in every state. We, of course, have it here. It's called Tools for Life, right? Miss Mary Wilson, Tools for Life. And this is a place that have assisted devices and technology. And you can go to that place and be able to try these devices out, you all. at no cost. And what they will do is allow you to take it home 4 to 6 weeks, try it out. And if you want to purchase it, much of those items are on Amazon, or you can work with Friends of Disabled Adult and Children. They may have something that you can, get from them. And there's a fee, might be about $25. And then if for people that may have MS, multiple sclerosis and things like that, and they might need some sort of like computer system, there are grant opportunities, or I should say loan opportunities, in order to get those devices. In closing, because I know the time is really running and you have some very important things that you want to go over, I pulled a poem out by our good friend Maya Angelou. I
Yes.
love her. I love her. And the title of it is On Aging. So this is what she said. When you see me sitting quietly, like a sack left on the shelf, don't think I need your chattering. I'm listening to myself. Hold, stop, don't pity me. Hold, stop your sympathy, understanding if you got it. Otherwise, I'll do without it. When my bones are stiff and aching, my feet won't climb the stair, I will only ask one favor. Don't bring me no rocking chair. When you see me walking, stumbling, don't study and get it wrong. 'Cause tired don't mean lazy, and every goodbye ain't gone. I'm the same person I was back then. A little less hair, a little less chin, and a lot less lungs and much less wind. But ain't I lucky I can still breathe in? How you like that?
I love it. I love it. And I want to switch up a little bit here. Thank you. And I want to thank Mary too, because she has been God sent to my organization, and we started a project probably 10 years ago, and about 5 years ago, we actually got some traction, and we actually built a memorial in Piedmont Park. Now we didn't even have the memorials finished before Mary up and by both of her brothers a brick.
Oh,
Both of her brothers, the one that I'm really close to. And I told him the other day, I said, you should have brought your own brick, bro. But she brought it before the memorial was constructed. So she was one of
wow.
the first people that bought a brick from the Sons of Atlanta Vietnam War Memorial. That's now it's one of the most attractive sites in Piedmont Park at the corner of 14th Street and Piedmont Avenue. You can go there night or day. And what that memorial is, it represents the 240 young men from my hometown, Atlanta, Georgia, and Fulton, and 10 other cities in Fulton County who were killed in the Vietnam War. Their names are in Washington, D.C., but I wanted to bring them home so that their community, the people where they came from, will value their sacrifice.
There you
No
go.
greater love than this is when one lay down his life for another. They died, most of them, before they were 21 years old. That means that they never had the right to vote.
That's right. That's right.
They never had to, but they fought and died so that we would have that right.
That's right.
So that we would have this one nation under God with liberty and justice for all. The multi-level, multi-racial, multicultural democracy that we got growing in this country today was what these young men died for. Because I'm going to tell you what, when they died, when this country, United States of America, was still segregated. The law of the land was segregation. I grew up in Atlanta. I know what it is to not be able to go in the riches in the front door. had to go to the back door. But that death, that what they did gave us the Constitution that's allowed us to have all these freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
That allowed us to have all these freedoms and all the opportunities that we had to be educated, right? You know, one time it was totally illegal for black people and women to be educated in this country because it was dominated by the slave master. And I think what has happened more recently, we see the slave master children has taken over our government, and they are doing everything that they can to take us back to that time where we didn't have these rights. But I'm saying that we should not let these young men's sacrifice be in vain.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go to the poll this November like we have never, ever voted before. Not saying about
Absolutely.
Democrats or Republicans. I'm talking about the Constitution of these United States. We are watching every day right now in this country with an organization named ICE killing Americans in violation of the Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. We've looked at these fine black leaders in the military without cause. It's a violation of the Constitution. We look at the war that they're in right now. We just learned that two more of our young men have paid the ultimate price. But this president, this leader, has told us that there was so much that had inflicted so much devastation on Iran that they couldn't do nothing, but they're killing our children right now.
That's right.
We need to go to the poll. This is a call to unity for not just Fulton County, but for the nation, for the whole nation. You know, so that memorial in Piedmont Park is not the end of the movement. It's the catalyst for calling us together.
Right.
And now we're about to have a town hall next Thursday where we are honoring Michael Julian Barnes and Marvin Arrington Jr., who has helped us establish the memorial, establish the Fulton County Veteran Empowerment Commission, you know, so that we can go into the communities now with resources that's going to address the issues, all these issues that you're talking about. We recognize that we got more resources in this country right now than we got problems. It's just the problem is they have cut us off from the knowledge of these resources, so we're going to bring them to the community center. We're going to get them in the center, and we're going to have people like you come in there and help us learn how to access them.
And when you say community center, you're talking about like the senior centers and things?
I'm talking about all the community centers.
Oh, okay.
All of them throughout Fulton County and the libraries.
Okay.
You know, and I just left Fulton County a mental health unit here on Metropolitan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we got them now. They're gonna be able to provide services for veterans and their families. We have a lot of mental one of the biggest problems in our community today is mental illness.
That's right.
And it's with our children that have been traumatized by the violence in our community.
That's right.
And we act like we can't do nothing about it.
Better say something.
But we got it.
That's right.
That's what you hear with us today, helping these folks know that. And we're gonna take it to them. We're not just gonna be talking about it. We're gonna be about it.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So I want to thank Mary first of all, because I mean she is jewel, right? And I'm not just saying that so Johnny can hear me either, you know. I'm saying it because it's real, you know. So we and she was the reason that we was at book talk.
That's right. That's
right. She was at book
talk. Tools for Life.
At Tools for Life. And I'm gonna tell you what, it was so good. Teresa Paramedic was there.
Sure was. She's
one of the people that called to unity. To unity. We're bringing all of God's people together.
That's right.
They said what a time it's gonna be, and we're gonna show up at the poll this year, like we never did before. so we can let these invaders, these treasonous acts that's being taken place with our government, we're gonna shut it down.
Shut it
We're gonna
down.
shut it down. And we're not talking about for Democrats or Republicans. Well, we're not red states or blue states. We're the United States of America.
That's right. That's right.
And we're gonna stop letting these demagogues separate us with the madness that they're doing. They can't turn us back because you're here today showing them what unity, the call to unity is all about. So I thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And so the event next Thursday is at Club E, I think. Gonna be at Club E. If not, I'll make an announcement before Monday evening. But the Veteran Empowerment Commission meeting is on Perry Boulevard at the library out there, at the community center out there. What is that gonna be doing? Like, I chair that committee. Actually, I chair, and we're gonna have some Fulton County employees there because Fulton County is about to release a manual that shows all of these changes in the government.
Oh,
and
great.
We're gonna make sure that everybody get it. But then see what we're trying to make sure that it's gonna be in every church, in every community center. But we got to have people that's willing to come out in the community centers and talk with the people, because we're going across Fulton County, but we're not going into these communities telling them what we're doing for them. We're going in there and let them tell us what they need us doing.
All right. They're listening.
Because
you
it
bring
lack,
your ears.
Yeah, lack is the cause of petty crimes and divisions in our community. Just lack, everyday lack. When we got our children working for these billionaires that Trump done pull around him, and they won't pay him a livable wage. We got to stop that. We got to stop that, and together we can. But we got to come together in our community all across Fulton County, and we're gonna show them how it's done. So that the rest of Georgia can get on deck. Because see, I'm Georgia born, I'm Georgia bred. When I die, I'll be Georgia dead. So I didn't come
love
here.
it. I love that.
I didn't come here. I'm from here. So we are here to thank you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
I know Mary gonna be there. So she been there. I mean, she been to the town hall. We didn't even know she come in there. She gonna holler at me, let me know she there, and she gone.
All right.
Because she's serving in our community.
Yes, she is.
And so we need that all across.
Absolutely.
And
on a grassroots level, not up here, red bottom shoes way of thinking. I mean, just come in to be in the trenches with the people, helping them, and that's one thing, giving them resources, sending them resources,
and see what we
educational
got
sessions.
to remind them that that's our tax money. So we need to make sure that they gonna get the resources that the tax money is making available. It's there, but the information and the assistance to access these benefits are not there. So this is what we're talking about now. We want to make sure that all of these resources are opened up to our community, so that we can undermine the issues in the community that's that making the quality of life unbearable.
Yes,
it's
indeed.
Unbearable, and it's not fair. It's not right. And we're not gonna let them stop growing toward this more perfect union.
That's right. That's right.
We're gonna grow toward this more perfect union because, I just believe this: when all of God's children get together, we're gonna have a time.
There you go.
We're not gonna have the lack. We're not gonna have the crime. We're not gonna have the violence. We're gonna be able to play in the streets. Children to be able to play in the streets without gun violence coming in.
That's right. So, and like you said, and people are traumatized. Our young people are traumatized behind.
They're traumatized, and that trauma, I see it all up and down Cleveland Avenue. I live in this area where people are on drugs that massing the problem of mental illness.
Yes.
So we know what we need.
That's right.
We just got to get into the communities in every community and find out exactly what that community is suffering, and make sure they're getting the resources and assistance that they need to overcome. That's
Absolutely.
And we're overcomers, right?
Overcomers. That's right.
We're the greatest overcomers in the history of mankind.
Well, Survivors
Listen,
with capital letters.
think about this. 100 years ago, it was illegal for us to be educated.
That's right.
Look at you. I got doctors in my family.
I love it.
You know, I got
Love
lawyers in my family. So we ain't going back. We done came too far.
Absolutely.
Done accomplished too much. Like I had this sergeant major in the 173rd. I want to say this because Johnny was in the 173rd. Man, we were talking about blood bond yesterday. Blood bond, you say I have accomplished so much with so little for so long that I believe that I can accomplish the impossible forever.
Oh, I love it.
With nothing but the mighty hand of God. So we ain't gonna turn back. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing here today. We ain't just talking about it. We're gonna be about it, you know, because that's what we're gonna set out with Marvin and Michael on Thursday. You know, because them brothers, elected officials that I call the sons of Atlanta, you know, because I knew their dads. I knew that I actually lived on the street with Julian Vaughn when I was growing up, you know. So when I was in trouble, he came to my aid. And I ain't gonna tell you my story yet. I got a story to tell, but you know, I'm the blood. You're looking at the blood, what the blood of Jesus. See, I'm talking about the blood. So my story ain't important right now. What we're doing here is important.
That's right. That's right. Can I ask you something? Going back to when you talked about voting, and you out in the community, what kind of feedback are you getting when people say that they are in their 20s and 30s, let's just say, are some of the reasons why they have not registered to vote?
You know what? Now you hear all kind of junk, but you know, Greg Fan and I was together the other day. He was on the show, and he said something that really makes sense. We got to sit down and communicate to these young people the reason for their vote.
Okay.
The reason. Because see, they talk like, I had one of my nephews, I like to slap him, you know, when Carla was running for president. He made the boy crazy. He ain't no boy no more because I love him. They go on. I got 8 nephews out of my sisters and I got 5 nieces, and they all love their uncle. Know, so but I'm always talking with him because we're always around each other. His mouth said that he wasn't gonna vote for no female because for no female to lead him. I said, man, what about my sister, bro? You come out of my sister, and I know she took care of you. I want to smack.
Ooh,
You
had to hold yourself back, didn't you, Reverend? You had to hold yourself back.
Man. But we got to meet them where they're at right now. And Greg made sense. We got to talk to these people about their needs. You know, where they're at. You know, we got to go to where they're at. They're not going to come to where we're at.
That's it. Yeah.
And we got to realize that, and we got to not to be frustrated with it. Like you were saying about, you know, the lack of knowledge. The people's perish. You know, so we got the knowledge. God has given us this age wisdom.
Use it.
We got to use it.
That's right.
You know, because we're going to be held accountable if we not.
That's right.
You know,
that's
so
right.
We got to use this what God has given us.
That's right.
You know, and that's what Veterans Talk is all about. You know, having sisters like you come on and help us out. You know, because we know that what you bring to the table is gonna help the community.
That's part of my DNA. That's what I love to do. Yeah.
See, so that's what the call to unity is. That we're gonna continue doing it, and we're gonna make sure. What you got going? Just tell us what you got going. You got some events, some stuff coming up?
Oh, now you putting me on the what I got going on. I got so much going on.
Well,
one of the things that we're working on is a continuation of estate planning in our communities. The purpose of that and being real and hitting it real about what we need to do, particularly in Black and brown communities, and the importance of estate planning. And I'm looking forward to that, and not only doing it in person, but also virtually.
Yes.
So, because we want to make it convenient for people. And like you said, bring it to where they're at, but also some people can't get where we at. And if they're at home, we want to be in their home.
So that's why we got some media here. You know, you went into a lot of homes today. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you
Thank you
went
for
into
having me in your home, everybody. I appreciate
got
it.
a lot of folks listening, you know, to what we're talking about because they know we're just veterans talking to veterans and the community about
That's
all
right.
things.
All things happening.
Yeah, all
That's
things
right.
going on. So we are really blessed. Thank you.
That's right. And thank you. Thank you.
So we did the hour. It seemed like a few minutes, but it was
It went real.
we
It
got
went
to
real.
talking. I told Ebony, I said, now I done read her. I done read her, so, and I remember her from